I think it's so important to trust your gut. If you know deep down in your gut that you want something or that you're capable of it, then you have to be willing to be flexible, to pivot, to wait for it, to fail a few times, but not lose that gut that drove you, right? Like, if you know it in your gut, then it's true.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, but today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Veronica Medina. Let me tell you a little bit about Veronica. She is an artist and the owner of Community Clayworks in Santa Barbara County in California, fostering a love of ceramic arts and the potter's wheel. Veronica, welcome to your Take the Doughnut interview.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. And, before we jump in with any more serious questions, let's start with our obligatory question of what's your favorite donut?
It's like the hardest question of all. I am tied, I believe, between an apple fritter, an old fashioned, or a maple bacon.
Very nice. We're getting some apple fritter responses lately. I like it. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's hard to find a bad one, that's for sure. Well, I gave a little bit of information about your bio up front, but tell us more about yourself. What do you want us to know?
I'm a mother of a spunky 7-year-old girl. My master's degree is in art education. So I think something that is very intrinsic to who I am is that I'm an educator at heart. That's my first and foremost. And I believe that I approach most of the things I do as an educator, meaning that I really sincerely believe in a growth mindset.
That's beautiful. I mean, I think what you do is activity based, but it's coming from a place of learning. And I love that you have that mentality with it. Yeah. Well, today's conversation is, it's a Take the Doughnut interview. And for those who aren't familiar with the concept of that, I'll attach a video here so you can see that. But basically, I once left a donut on a table in college, and it became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to literally leave opportunity on the table. So for me, take the donut is now an expression. It's like carpe diem. It means do the opposite of what I did, go after what you want. And so today's conversation is all about exploring what does it look like to go after what you want. So I want to ask you that question to start off with. How are you with going after goals? What does that process look like for you?
Well, as much as I'd love to be like, it's A, B, and C, it's not always clear and obvious. I am a person that really can think more clearly when I'm speaking. So for me, sharing my ideas with others is really critical. So sharing it specifically with, obviously the people that I love and care about and whose opinions I value, but really testing my ideas in a way that I'm also going to be challenged. Because in that process of talking through these ideas, not only does it force me to hone in and gain more clarity on what specifically is what I want, but it helps me have divergent ways of obtaining it, right? So I might like make edits along the way and say, I think if I do this, I'll get there more efficiently. Or this might be a really interesting detour. So it really introduces things that I wouldn't have necessarily come up with myself if I didn't employ collaborative thinking, if you will.
That's really interesting. So let me drill down on that a little bit more, because I think I do some of that as well in sort of talking it out and how that helps me organize my thoughts. But for you, it's not just about, you can't just talk it out to yourself going for a walk or looking in a mirror or being in a room. You have to have the bouncing board.
I think if I'm in my bubble, there are places where I can get stuck, or there are opportunities I'm not seeing. So without sharing it, I feel as though I haven't delved deeply enough.
Mm.
For
Really
me,
interesting. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And, it probably helps you, that process probably helps you sort of steer away from obvious problems right away, because when you have those bouncing boards, people might be able to identify things or raise recommendations that you wouldn't have thought of.
yeah.
So that really interesting. Well, when you get started, as once you've jumped in, what keeps you motivated, especially if it's a goal that's going to take a lot of long-term effort?
Uh, I think it depends where you are in the goal process, right? I think, for example, with my business, the name of the business is Community Clayworks. And I named it that because I fundamentally wanted to form a community that I could be a part of, where I saw myself participating. And so selfishly, I wanted to be able to find my tribe and my people. So that was a motivation. But as I got there, it was also seeing that there was a need within my community and knowing that I would be able to fill that need for a certain group of people that would benefit from it. And then it is a challenging process. So along the way, there's so many beautiful moments that really reinforce you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. It's okay, that make all that sweat and tears worth it when you get to see friendships form. When it's a ceramic studio. It's open 7 days a week now. So for example, I had someone reach out to me that was in a class that I'd never met before, but had been coming to the studio for months, say, I just want you to know how important your studio has been to me. I'm recovering from cancer, and being here means so much to me. And it's just these moments that are priceless, where they're the things that make you feel more purposeful. That you're impacting people in a way that matters.
What a beautiful kind of feedback to get, with somebody saying to you directly exactly what your community has done for their life.
Yeah, it's a particular kind of place in which I get to see that gratitude. Like, I get to feel that gratitude, because I know a lot of people do awesome jobs, but they're not necessarily in a space where they get the thank you. But getting the thank you means a lot.
Yeah. Well, are there any particular kinds of challenges that you tend to face when you're going after goals? Maybe a similar brand of challenges that keeps coming up no matter what the goal is?
Yes.
What are they? Uh-oh.
It's, at least for me, a lot of it is balancing time and energy with family and work. And there's the very realistic part of life that a lot of, challenges are about money, or about risk assessment, or about time, especially with the people that you love and want time with you. So there's a lot of negotiating that happens. And again, it's part of honing in on, like, all right, what's the most important thing, and how can we efficiently get to that place, and how does everyone have their needs met? So it's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know we started out kind of abstract here, but let's get into more like specific examples. So this, if you can go back personally, professionally, whatever comes to mind, what would be the biggest donut you've ever taken?
If I'm being completely honest, it was leaving my ex for my current husband.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty life altering, and the best choice I could have made.
Totally changes the foundation of where you are when you change your living environment, your
It
relationship environment.
absolutely, I feel as though I'm with a person where I always feel like I'm going to be my best self. I'm never
Mhm.
not going to push myself because of the way we interact. And granted, that's not all like roses, right? It's like fiery, and like it has everything that a dynamic relationship has, but in a way where there's a foundation of love and respect that I think makes a big difference.
Well, you know, they say, I guess to paraphrase it, because I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but that you're, you know, you are most like the 5 people you spend the most time with. You know, it's this idea that the people who are closest to you, the ones that you're really putting a lot of energy into and are giving a lot back to you, whatever that looks like, you're going to end up taking on some of those characteristics, modeling it for others, and good or bad, right? And I think nobody's perfect, but it's interesting to think about that as like, what is this bringing out in me? So when you mention that being your biggest donut that you've taken, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because how can you, whatever the relationship looks like is going to be what you bring to the world too. And, you know, whether that's bringing your best self or not, that's what's happening. So it's so interesting that you pinpoint that. Yeah. So are there any particular donuts that you're working on right now?
I have some bids out for large scale mosaics. And while I've done mosaic projects that are small or taught them, I've never actually done a large scale mosaic installation. So it looks like we are close to getting things to happen, in which case the city of Buellton, where we live, will have some really beautiful bright orange poppies on the walls of a handful of buildings. So we're excited for that. But otherwise, other than that particular project, I'm funny enough in this place where I don't know. And I have this sense of curiosity and openness to whatever the next adventure is going to be. But I almost feel like I'm waiting for it. Like, okay, what's it going to be? What's it going to be?
What a great mindset to have going into that, right? Because you may be more likely to actually spot the cool opportunity if you're looking for it. So I love that. Well, you know, there may be other people out there who are also looking to take a donut, maybe one that they've identified or one like you that they haven't yet. And maybe they're looking for some recommendations. So let's do the sprinkle some encouragement section. And, you know, what would you say to people who have a donut they want to take and it's in progress or about to be?
I think it's so important to trust your gut. If you know deep down in your gut that you want something or that you're capable of it, then you have to be willing to be flexible, to pivot, to wait for it, to fail a few times, but not lose that gut that drove you, right? Like, if you know it in your gut, then it's true. And you just have to dust yourself off and keep going. I know this is all about carpe diem, but I can't help but always think about being a teenager and a Dave Matthews song that there are lyrics that just stuck with me. And like, it's, you know, like the earworm that every once in a while, like I hear, I can't believe that we would lie in our graves dreaming of things that we might have been. And that feeling of regret scares me. Like, I never want to feel like I regret not having taken an opportunity. I don't want to live that way. So my encouragement is, it's better to fail than regret not having tried.
What a gorgeous lyric too. What song do you remember what song that's from?
I think it's called Lie in Our Graves.
Okay. Very nice. Everybody go check out that song. So, you know, and speaking of which, you know, where can we find you? What do you want us to know about? I can put any links in the description, but what link should I put in there?
We are community_Clayworks on Instagram, and we are a full educational facility. So if anyone's going to be, you know, passing through the Santa Ynez Valley on some wine tours, they can stop by Buellton. We do a sip and spin every single Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. where people can take a spin on a potter's wheel. And yeah, we're here. We're doing our thing, having fun.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to get those links into the description. Everybody can check those out. And if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe because we have so many inspirational interviews coming up, all kinds of amazing people. But Veronica, this was all about you. Thank you so much for joining in today and sharing your thoughts about going after your goals.
Thanks for having me. It was nice to be put in a position to think about them a little more.
Awesome. Well, okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye.